Welcome to B-Rate Politics with Radio Guy. Please excuse any foul language or misinterpreted views. Wow. Yesterday really was a complete shit show. Of course, it went beyond really that, what I was thinking. So, whatever you would define beyond a shit show, that's pretty much more or less what it was. I'm going of course, I'm going to be censored a little bit. You've got the YouTube version, but if you'd like to hear me more, you can go on Patreon and you can listen to my Monday podcast for free. It's about an hour, cover about 3 different topics usually. So, anyways, with that said, I did have another topic I wanted to talk about, but with what went down yesterday, that's pretty much going to be today's video. I think Donald Trump is going to get most of the blame. But what went down yesterday really extends beyond just Donald Trump, right? And that's kind of the whole point of this video. At least for the charades on Capitol Hill, Congress itself, that was brought on by presidential ambitions of people like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley they're both Republicans, and they really see themselves, President Cruz, President Hawley. It's got a good ring to it if you can live in that reality long enough. On the other side of it is conservative media has been on and on and on about election integrity because Donald Trump himself, along with a lot of conservatives, cannot accept the reality that Donald Trump lost. That in some way the Democrats cheated, because that's what Democrats do. It's just kind of in the DNA. You start thinking so left and you cheat at life. Very interesting hypothesis. But the reality of it is that conservative media would go on and on and on and on about election integrity. And as I had said earlier in the week, people like Senator Ben Sasse had said, Republicans in Congress think that Trump and Trump voters are full of it. And he's right. I'm very much convinced of what Ben Sasse is saying. Do I agree with everything with Senator Ben Sasse? No. But he is right. Because people like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley very much are only doing this not because they think Donald Trump got cheated, but because, that's a great way, one step closer to get to the Republican nomination. So that's really at the heart of all of this, is the political side and the media side. I don't think are going to get covered as much. Like I said, I think a lot of it's going to go to Donald Trump, who's sadly lost his Twitter. But we'll get to that. So basically what went down is, of course, the Trump supporters essentially take over the Capitol. Wasn't a lot of resistance from cops. In fact, a lot of Capitol security was actually some of officers were actually taking selfies with Trump supporters. So, hey, paid off. BLM, am I right? Well, not the BLM on the left, the BLM on the right. Yeah, Blue Lives Matter. And so I guess all that paid off finally. And of course, eventually some of them, got into Nancy Pelosi's office. Some of them got into the House and Senate chamber. So, like I said, complete shit show. Really beyond that. And sadly, through all this, taking over, we have our demands. We want to make Radio Guy the Fed chair, which, by the way, that should have been one of their demands. If only they could have held out for 14 days, then Trump would have remained as president. Sadly, one Trump supporter got killed, and I think there were gunshots. In fact, some reports that I came across were saying that there were actually pipe bombs at the DNC and the RNC headquarters, and I was like, oh wow, they really don't like the Republican National Convention. Oops. So, with all that being said, just understand that this goes beyond just Donald Trump. It's not just Donald Trump. Now, that's what the media is going to focus on. They're going to be on Donald Trump because, again, easy to attack. But the reality of it is, it's also you also have to understand that there are Republicans in Congress who have presidential ambitions, hoping that you will vote for them. Remember that President Cruz, President Halley, it's got a good ring. Um, on the flip side of that is also conservative media. Uh, in fact, when it came to, I mean, there's really not much in terms of resistance compared to what we saw over the summer with, Antifa and BLM. I mean, pretty much they say one goddamn word out of their mouth, and they're the cops ready to beat the hell out of them, and you're just kind of like, wow, that's pretty different setup going on here. The National Guard finally did come in to kind of get everybody cleared out of Capitol Hill, but it wasn't because Donald Trump had gotten had said, yeah, go ahead, send in the National Guard, fine, screw them. No, it wasn't. It wasn't because of Donald Trump. It was actually Mike Pence, the vice president, had to send in the National Guard. Donald Trump wouldn't do it. I was like, wow. I guess he really did want. His supporters to take control of the Capitol. I guess, I don't know. But with all that being said, there were other deaths, but I'm not going to say anything on that. I'm just going to talk about that one death that I mentioned earlier. At the same time, what else went down? Well, essentially, Congress went back through the night. Senator Marco Rubio is basically looking at people like Cruz and Halley and is like, do you really want to go and contest everything else? Because we literally just had a person die on Capitol Hill over this bullshit. Which is basically, excuse my language, but that's why I always give the warning at the beginning of my podcast / videos. That's the reality, though, in all of this is bullshit. It's really all it is. You really think that elected Republicans really care about election integrity? Come on, give me a break. Yeah, I'm sure they really do. Just only in certain elections, though. Whichever one in which Donald Trump's running. Then we'll care about election integrity. Yeah. Anyways, beyond that, what could become a long rant, and to keep this video short, Donald Trump is going to get the brunt of this. In fact, like I said, I had mentioned earlier, Twitter, along with Facebook, had locked him out of his account for at least 12 hours. That's why he's a little quiet right now. There's calm in the water. At the same time, there was actually even talk among his cabinet members for Donald Trump to go ahead and be removed, not even to wait till January 20th, to go ahead and remove him via 25th Amendment. It only takes a majority of Trump's cabinet, along with Mike Pence, and then to declare him unfit as president, and then and then Mike Pence becomes president to serve out the remaining week and a half. I'm like, dang, Trump, you can't, man, boy, you only got 13 days. I mean, we're not, I'm not saying, I know your voters were, I know they were, I guess, maybe trying to do like an Alamo kind of thing where 13 days of glory, or in this case, it would have been 14 days of glory. But I mean, realistically, you only have like 13 days left, and then, that's it. It's pretty. You have to decide what you'll do with the, certain presidential benefits that you get. You don't really need them, but that's probably the big thing. Whether you do Trump TV or decide to run for another election in 2024, is to remain to be seen. But I mainly was doing this video on one hand to kind of talk about the stuff that had gone down just a little bit, and really again kind of go beyond just like it's Donald Trump. Well, it's more than just Donald Trump. Conservative voters, and to kind of wrap up this video, there was actually one conservative voter who had called in on C-SPAN and was basically like, I don't want to be told that my president lied to me, because she was like in tears on the phone and stuff. So I'm just saying that conservatives are very much, along with Donald Trump, are very much convinced they were cheated in this election. And people like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley don't help the scenario, because they don't They think, I'm just telling you right now, most of the Republicans in Congress think you're all full of it. I'm telling you right now. That's not my opinion. It's not just me saying that. That's people like Senator Ben Sass, a Republican senator from Nebraska, which I know occasionally he likes to play the "I'm a never Trumper" card. But I'm just telling you right now that you're pretty much all being duped, along with Trump. You're all being duped in this idea of election integrity. Most of the Republicans in Congress think you're all full of it. They're just not going to come out and say it because they don't want to be primaried. In fact, there's actually a video of some Trump supporters or conservative voters in general came across Mitt Romney in an airport, and they're like, "Yeah, if you don't vote to support Trump, we're going to primary you in Utah." Now, I don't know. Mitt Romney's pretty popular in Utah, so it might be really tough to beat him in a Republican primary. But I'm just saying that's the end result. But like I said, this video's gone on long enough. Is Donald Trump going to be removed via 25th Amendment? Hard to say. I don't really think he will, but people in his cabinet might just be like, "Hey, can we kind of tone it down a little bit?" You had like over 60 lawsuits. You basically pulled a Republican of Obamacare repeal, and you pretty much lost almost all of them. I think there were a couple of cases that they won, and that was about it. And considering that our courts are, well, in some ways I would argue that they're kind of more or less neocon judges. This is what happens when you fill your administration up with a bunch of Bush people. So congratulations. But in the longer scheme of things, it'll be interesting. Sadly, it sucks that people died yesterday. It's kind of unnecessary. Again, going beyond Donald Trump, kind of the point of this video, the way security handled on Capitol Hill, disgusting. You're over there taking selfies with Trump voters. Like, give me a break. As I've said before, hypocrisy within our criminal justice system is beyond belief. This is why I talk about how police should be focused on safety, but they're not. They're focused on profit. Sadly, that's the system we have. When you talk about things like civil asset forfeiture, private prisons, or the 3-strike rule, it's a way to lock people up, throw away the key, and let them rot in hell. That's the way our system's designed. And the way conservative media has been on and on about election integrity, and then you got the hypocrisy of elected Republican officials in government. Yeah, of course, this is the kind of crap that's going to go down. What else have I not covered since? I guess that's really about it, because I probably would have mentioned the Georgia outcomes on Wednesday. But I might do one more video. And sadly, this one went over. I'm sorry. I'll try and work on getting them shorter. Sometimes it's a lot of information. Even on some of these topics, it's a lot of information to kind of get out there. Kudos to Mike Pence for at least having the responsibility and the common sense to send in practical, realistic security that's not going to be taking selfies with people. Like, give me a break. When the Antifa and the BLM crap went down over the summer, I mean, it was like, what you gonna say? What you gonna say? And then just beat the hell out of them. Like, boom, done. It's like, whoa, that's a bit much, but okay, all right, that makes perfect sense. But that's the reality that we live in. Of course, I guess we could live in the other reality in which the coup actually worked, that Democrats decided to say F you to Biden and keep Donald Trump in office, and along with the first Trump supporters that were able to get in on Capitol Hill, get some elected official positions. Some of them can take Mike Mulvaney because he finally left. He's like, I can't handle it anymore. I was like, dude, you're just trying to cover your own behind in that regard. But this is beyond Donald Trump. This is way beyond Donald Trump. But again, he's going to be the focus. Well, Donald Trump caused all this. Last time I checked, Donald Trump's not going on and on and on and on multiple, whether, I don't know where you might be listening to conservative outlets, but it's not just him as an elected official talking about election integrity. It's also a lot of other Republicans, because for the most part, they want to cover their own behind. They don't want to be primaried. And at the same time, Some of them have presidential ambitions. As I've said, President Cruz, President Halley. If you can live in that reality long enough, it might sound pretty good. And that's all I have really today. Again, sorry that the video went on this long. It happens sometimes. Thanks again for listening to B-Rate Politics with Radio Guy. Hopefully you can have a great day. Stay safe, and that's the reality of the world.